What's up, guys? Tugi here, back again with another episode of my Nations United series here on NHL 16. And as you can see, we're here at the draft in the first round. Edmonton still looking to pick first overall. Our first pick is like 20th or something like that. Problem is, there happen to be a lot of really good players from nations that are currently available to us. So I'm thinking maybe rather than, trading to get Bjorkstrand and Merzlikins, which was definitely the plan, maybe we should trade up, get as many first and second round picks as possible, and really stock up. Well, first rounders, I can't have any more than 3, but maybe try to get 3 first rounders to draft as many of these guys as possible. I'm not sure if that is going to be an option. We're going to find out, but certainly we have a chance to really get some decent prospects from our available nations. So our first trade is a bit of a doozy. It is Matt Zuccarello, a 2023 second round pick, a 2022 third round pick, and a fifth round pick to the Avs for the number 2 overall pick in this draft, and Trent Vogelhuber, who is not a I can't think of the term. We can't use him, so we'll be cutting him. His contract's up anyway. But Matt Zuccarello and picks to the Avs for the number 2 overall pick. And our next trade is probably a little bit insane, but I feel like we have to do it. This will bring us to our third pick in this first round. It'll be the last pick we can make. It's a first, second, and some lower picks to the Islanders for their first round pick, which I believe is 7th overall. So we now have 3 first round picks here in the first round. That is the most that we can make. So we will make these picks live. Joe Veleno goes first overall, as he probably will in real life. But let's take a look here and see who we have available. Of course, our third first round pick is actually 23rd overall, so that's a little bit disappointing. But it's undeniable. We need to take the Belgian Devin McIntyre, and we'll see if he can be a little bit better than what he was scouted out to be. And he's high top 6, which isn't ideal, but that's good for what we are looking for. Other players going were top 6 as well. There was a high top 4 defenseman as well. So now let's check the 7th overall pick and see just what exactly or whom exactly we can take inside the top 10. Literally all 4 of these guys left inside the top 10 are available players. So we have Jason Monador from, I believe, Austria. We have Igor Burmistrov from Belarus. We have Charles Bartley from Austria. And Corey Nolan, the Norwegian sniper. They need to do a better job, kind of like FIFA finally fixed. They need to do a better job of getting region-accurate names. Like Burmistrov is fine. I don't think you're going to find a Jason Monador in Austria. I might be wrong. But let's see here. So 3 defensemen or a sniper. I think I'd love to take the sniper. I really would. But I think we need a defenseman. And we are a bit weak on defense as it is. So we could take 18-year-old Jason Monador, 20-year-old Igor Burmistrov, or 18-year-old Charles Bartley. Do we take Jason Monador? High top 6, right-handed shot at 18. Or high top 6, Bartley. Monador or Bartley? I'm going to go with Monador. That might be a mistake. But we're going to go with Monador. Fuck, he's medium top 6. I was hoping for at least top 4. Burmistrov ended up being top 4. Fuck me. Bartley ended up being top 4. All right. Well, there you go. For those who might have still been questionable about my draft luck in Vancouver, doesn't always go your way. Maybe his potential will change when the season starts, but that's a big swing and miss. Our last first round pick, 23rd overall. Let's see who is still available and see if we can redeem ourselves for that last pick of Monador. Who is available? And fuck, a lot of the guys I was looking at are gone. We could take Setaguchi, but maybe it would be worth trading this first round pick to Columbus. Let's explore that a little bit, shall we? So guys, this probably isn't the trade you were expecting, but the asking price for Bjorkstrand and Merzlikins out of Columbus is just way too high. So we trade down, we get some picks from Edmonton, but seriously, I even offered Kopitar. I offered Kopitar. I offered 2 first-round picks, 3 seconds, stuff of that caliber. They wouldn't budge. I even offered a first round and a third for Merzlikins and Bison, and they wouldn't take it. The price is too high, so I can't in good faith do it. So in the meantime, we'll trade down. A big factor right now is that we currently have a lot of players that we could have used as pieces that are currently without contract. Yannick Hansen, Ronald Kennens, and the like. But right now our time is currently winding down. Now that it switches to Edmonton, we'll be fine. But we'll sim to our next pick. Maybe we'll explore the Merzlikins option down the road. So because of the Edmonton trade, we have the first pick of the second round, and we will see what we can get with that. We do have quite a few picks here in the second round, which should be good for us. As far as I can remember, there are quite a few options. Let's see, we have 2 Swiss right here. We have, what is that, Estonia? I think that's Estonia. There's also another Austrian, a couple more Austrians in here. So we do have quite a few options, which is good. Let's see, we have Marvin Setaguchi and Xavier Manderville, which, again, we need the help defensively, so I'm going to go with Setaguchi, and he ends up being top 6. That's okay. When's our next pick? Manderville will be gone by the time we pick again, unfortunately. Our second round picks are well at the end, so that kind of sucks. But now that we're here, let's make these picks. 3 out of the next 4, I believe, are ours, and we will see who we can pick up here. These will probably be the last picks of the draft that I show you guys. And Sidhu and Ustorf will be 2 of them. We're going to take Sidhu first, just because, again, we need the defensive help. If I can get a look at his first name, EA, that would be great. Brent Sidhu. Boy, that is Austrian as hell, isn't it? So let's take him. He ends up being top 6. And sorry for the jump cut there, but we'll sim picks. And Ustorf went to Tampa. Fuck you, Tampa. You just had to take the German, didn't you? God damn it. Well, that really sucks. I really wanted him, and he was top 9 too, so he would have helped out quite a bit. The next person we can take, though, is Marcus Trigg, the German. We could go with Lorenz, Saunders, Ald, Gerber, or McKee. We're going to go... Actually, they're all second to third rounders. Fuck. All right, so we could go with Trigg. We could go with Neil Lorenz. We could go with the Frenchman Casey Saunders. Ald, Gerber, a goalie, McKee. Oh my God, there's so many people that we could take. I'm going to take Trigg, though. I'm going to take Trigg and hope that he pans out. And top 9's not bad. Top 9's not bad. Our last pick, though, I believe, of the second round. God, no. I liked it better when I only had like 1 or 2 options as opposed to the shitload of options we have here. I'm not going to take the goalie, which means we could go with any of these 4. And they're all defensemen. Josh McKee, Ronald Ald, that's a hell of a name, Casey Saunders, the Frenchman, or Neil Lorenz. Casey Saunders is a fucking beast, 6'3", 236. And then we have Josh McKee. I'm going to go with the Frenchman. We're going to go with Casey Saunders. He's an animal, and he's not an animal. My draft luck's gone, boys. I don't know what happened in Vancouver, but my draft luck is gone. Can I please get a look at some of the people? McKee was top 6. Of course he was. Who else did we pass up on? God damn it. Now we're going to have to scroll all the way back to see Dallas, aren't we? All right, well, I'll make this next pick because we'll have at least 1 or 2 of those guys. Gerber went. He was a fringe starter. My God, that is now 2 picks that have gone horribly wrong for us. But let's see. Who do we have available? It is Lorenz or Ald. Okay, Neil Lorenz. Or do we go with Ronald Ald? All right, we'll take the Swiss defender. Please be good. Please, I am begging you. Oh, fucking Christ. All right, that's it for the draft. All right, here in the 4th round, our draft luck hasn't been completely terrible. This is the last thing I'll show you guys. We drafted Grachev and Oliwa, low top 9 and a backup potential. Compared to AHL potentials that I've been getting all through the 3rd round, pretty good. So there you have it, guys. The full draft list, not the greatest. A lot of swings and misses, particularly with the picks that I showed you guys, but it at least adds a little bit more depth to our team. Let's move on to the re-sign phase. We got some names we have to re-sign, of course. And then who knows from here? Who knows what type of trades we may explore. All right, let's see here. As far as contracts go, we know we have some big names that we have to bring back, which is going to suck a little bit just because of the amount of people we have. Both of our goalies need to be re-signed, which we actually do have to re-sign them just in case I can't make a trade for any other goalie, which is actually very, very possible at this point, especially with what Columbus was looking to get for Merzlikins. We have a boatload of goalie prospects, so that's good at least. And the good thing is, too, if I actually do find room to make trades, at the very least, I will be able to get some draft picks back. So that's why I was all right with going, kind of free spending to try and get Merzlikins and Bjorkstrand, but the price on them was just so goddamn high, it wasn't even funny. But here we go. Let's just keep, you know what, we'll even sign these two guys who probably aren't going to pan out to their entry-level deals just because we are going to need players. So, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of these guys, I mean, we have so many guys, but look at all these AHL, top potential ranges that you would never see when we were with the Vancouver Canucks, but our hand has kind of been forced at this point into what type of players we have. Yannick Hansen. I guess I'll go 2 years for Hansen. Try to get him for a little bit cheaper. I was going to go 1 year for him and probably trade him, but we'll keep him. Let's see how long we can get Sprong for. Yeah, I'll sign him to a two-way deal since we can get him under that. Kuhnhackl. I'll give Kuhnhackl 2 years. He'll probably be on the NHL roster. We got to get rid of Vogelhuber. Of course, he does not qualify as a player that we can have. Let's see. Left wing, Sven Berchke needs to be re-signed, and it'll be under a two-way deal, so that works. Lars Eller needs a contract. We'll get him for 1 year in case we decide to trade him. Ronald Kennens is looking for way more money than he is actually worth, but we'll give it to him because we might be in a bit of a cap crunch. As you can see, $37 million to spend, and yeah, not exactly the high enough caliber of player to spend it on at the moment is a big issue of ours. Roussel will resign. Good thing is our rookie, the number 2 overall pick, McIntyre, is high top 6 and an 80 overall to start. So we will sign Devin McIntyre to his first contract. So that was at least a good decision to trade up and bring him into the fold. That's going to end up being a pretty good decision. Ruslan Fedotenko can go. I can't believe he hasn't retired. He probably hasn't retired because he thinks I'm still going to give him a ridiculous contract. Nick Anderson can get a deal. He should be so much better rated than he actually is, but oh well. Suter will give a deal, and is that it? That is it. So, we're still going to probably have to re-sign Ruslan Fedotenko to one of those massive deals, but we needed to go as cheap as possible on some of the contracts here to make sure that these guys were as, tradable as possible. Unfortunately, Yannick Hansen has declined, but I am going to offer him and Grubauer now as much money as possible. Everybody else looks to have accepted. I am going to offer those two as much money as possible. It will lower their trade value based on how much money they're making, but I at least need to have an option to sign those guys. But let's see here. All unsigned player. No, all expiring. There we go. Yannick Hansen. You know what? We'll just give you $3.5 million. How does that sound? Accept it. Be happy. Playing for a team that makes the playoffs, but in reality isn't that good. Grubauer, same thing. I'll even give you $3.75. Just so you shut your face, sign a contract so I can trade you. That's all we need from these guys right now. Just sign the dotted line so we can trade you to a real contender. Hansen's here, Grubauer's here. Let's move on to free agency or the start of next season. I'm not sure which. Now we have made a trade. It is Jannik Hansen and the 3rd round pick way down the line for Elvis Merzlikins. Simply put, if we're going to get our hands on Bjorkstrand, we are going to have to trade the farm, and the farm that we were going to build up to replace the farm. They just don't want to trade him. So Merzlikins is here. I am giving up on Bjorkstrand. Now we have quite a few trades that we need to get to. The first one is for Tampa Bay's Tanner Richard and a 6th round pick. Probably won't be the best NHLer, but we could probably use him on the 4th line. He is of Swiss nationality. We get rid of 3 prospects who are simply never going to make our lineup. Next up, 3 more prospects. Casey Saunders, who we just drafted, Krakowskis, who was from, I believe, the first draft, and Lala, a goalie who isn't going to make it, to Toronto for McKee. Next up, we make a deal. It is Nick Anderson, Suter, Heldner, and a new goalie we just drafted, Oliwa, to the New York Islanders for Bartek, Bison, Riot, and Stadler. Our next trade is with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, I tried to get Bjorkstrand again. The price is still way too high. So we do end up going with somebody else, though. Festerini, a top 6 potential defenseman for 2 AHL level guys. Now this trade might be predictable, especially after the acquisition of Elvis Merzlikins, but it's Kristers Gudlevskis to the Winnipeg Jets for pretty much all of their draft picks in the upcoming draft. And our next obvious trade is sending Grubauer, although we did have to retain a little bit of salary. The contract we gave him was a bit much, but we sent him to Vancouver for a ton of picks this year, and the main highlight being their 2nd round pick. Another minor trade, it's Kreutzer and Johansson, 2 AHL level players, to Tampa Bay for their 3rd round pick in 2019 and their 6th round pick the year after that. A ton of AHL level guys for a bunch of picks. You'll be seeing this a lot, and you have seen it a lot. It'll continue to be that way. And when you look at that, it's another one of these trades, 2 3rds and 2 4th round picks coming back from Boston. Another deal done, more AHL potential prospects out, more picks coming back in, this time from the Sabres. And our last trade involving AHL potential prospects, and yes, there were a lot of them, a 4th and 5th round pick to Edmonton for Bukaboom and Keislinger. And now that we have these picks, it's time to use them to our advantage. It's Yannick Weber and 2 3rds to the Washington Capitals for Jonas Siegenthaler and a 7th round pick. Our next trade sees Philip Larson and 2 5th rounders going to Florida in exchange for defenseman Mark Steiner. And our next trade, it is 2 4th round picks and a 6th round pick to Chicago for defenseman Yuri Mogilny. Lucas Spiza is the next defenseman on his way out. We have sent him to Anaheim for their 3rd and 6th round pick. It's a decent amount of assets to give up, but this is why we, acquired all of these picks. It is Kai Weissman, a 2nd, and a bunch of other picks to the Washington Capitals for a top 4 potential defenseman, Burmistrov. Another deal, it is 2 unsigned 7th D potential players, Sidhu and Setaguchi. We send them to Tampa for Kondratiev and 2 7th round picks. Next up, it is Lars Eller being sent to San Jose for their 2nd and 4th round pick this year. And Ronald Kennens has been sent to St. Louis for their 2nd and 6th round picks in this upcoming draft. Anton Roussel has been sent to Tampa for a 4th round pick this year and their 3rd and 6th round pick 2 years from now. Our next trade, we send 2 3rd round picks and a 4th to Montreal for Tim Bozon and a 6th round pick. Our next trade, it is 2 3rd round picks, Anaheim and Buffaloes, to Edmonton for Huber and Sorensen. Our next trade, we've sent Stadler and 2 4th round picks to Chicago for our old friend Nikita Zhevpalovs. Another trade, it is a prospect and 2 3rd round picks to Calgary for Pavel Karnikov and a 6th round pick. And finally, our last trade for the moment is Bartek Bison, along with 4 7th round picks being sent to Montreal for Sven Andrighetto. Alright, so I lied. Our last trade is going to be Adam, a 7th D potential player, to Anaheim for 2 5th round picks. All right, guys, so after what has to be a record number of trades, here is the team that we are potentially going to start off with. And I say potentially because it is very obvious just by looking at this team that we do need some improvements. Obviously, with the changes we just made, this team is now much younger, full with much more potential rather than having guys who are just really holding up a spot. I would rather have someone like Schlapfer in rather than, say, a Ronald Kennens who is now past his potential. But right now, the big names, the big 6 names we could go out and attempt to acquire, and the reason we haven't yet is because of how expensive they are. Mikhail Bodker, Timo Meier, Dennis Malgin of the Florida Panthers, Bjorkstrand, Gergensons, Brendan Perlini of Arizona. Those 6 are all expensive as hell, but they would certainly fit into our lineup and would result in Tanner Richard and Sin Schlapfer being sent down, but it would obviously make our team much better. In the meantime, here is the lineup. Of course, it is now Niederreiter, Kopitar, and Daniel Sprong. Now that we have traded away Matt Zuccarello, we have the Swiss, the Slovenian, and technically a Canadian, but Dutch. And this was my one exception, if you remember. Obviously, there are other players that would be an exception, but I decided to go, it just has to be based on the nationality, with the exception of Daniel Sprong. He is Dutch. That's the way it is. Second line is now Kevin Fiala with Leon Draisaitl and Nikolai Ehlers, so still a decent line with a lot of potential. Third line is Sven Berchke with Tobias Reeder and Devin McIntyre, who we, of course, just drafted number 2 overall, is an 83 overall guy, high top 6 potential to start off. We may put him up on the second line. What do you guys think? Should he start off on the third line, or should we put him on the second line for Fiala or Nikolai Ehlers? The fourth line, Tim Bozon, actually fell from an 83 to an 81 after we acquired him from Montreal. He is with Tanner Richard and Sin Schlapfer. So again, a younger team. I don't know if we'll make the playoffs with this team, but we do have the possibility of going out to get those big 1 or 2 of those big 6 players. But remember, the price is very, very high. I'm talking about potentially first and seconds, maybe even multiple first-round picks. Defensively, it is still going to be Mirko Mueller and Roman Josi on that top pairing, so that's looking good. But the defense is what really took a hit. We have Jonas Siegenthaler here now playing with Colin Fontana on the second pairing. And in the third pairing, Simon Schutz with Ivan Puzic. But we do have 3 of the players that we drafted now potentially here. Defensively, unlike with the forwards, we really don't have any better options. This is the best it gets. We're going to have to build up our defense through the draft at this point, and we are going to have to hope that these guys can make the jump. Hopefully Fontana jumps to top 4. Hopefully Puzic and Schutz jump to 6th D potential. We'll have to wait and see how the season goes. And obviously the goaltender might be controversial, but I am going with Elvis Merzlikins. Obviously we got a decent return for Kudlevskis and Grubauer that allowed us to make some of these trades. Ludovic Weber will be the backup goalie. As far as scratched players, again, kind of cheating with the contracts here. Ruslan Fedotenko is going to make $8 million this year. Ponikarovsky, $7 million, and Dennis Seidenberg, $7 million. But that's just what we have to do to be able to ice this team in terms of the cap. The AHL is starting to look pretty good. We have Nico Hischier, who is top 9. Rodrigo Abols, who is top 9, with Richard Bukarts there. You have Ruslan Tutin, who is low top 9. Calvin Thurkoff, bottom 6. Actually, I'm pretty sure the rest of these guys are bottom 6. But again, the potential is there for us to really do some damage moving forward. Festorini, only a 60 overall. We'll see if he can have a decent season of growth. Burmistrov was a gigantic pickup for us in terms of his potential. I'll give you a look at the rest of their potentials. The goalies, it's a duel between Franz Reb and Geisberger. Franz Reb will get the start due to him being high backup as opposed to medium. And of course, we do have some good players that are currently scratched. Rendulik, Zhevpalovs, Kerrer, and we could easily go best lines if we want this team to attempt to make the playoffs. But guys, this episode, I'm sure, has been long enough. Legitimately, it's taken 2, actually 3 now, recording sessions to figure it all out, scout out every player, because unlike in FIFA, you can't scout by nationality, or you can scout, but I mean, in terms of finding players currently in the NHL, you can't just be like, oh, I want to acquire or search for players from this nationality. Basically, it's a giant pain in the ass. But I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. And, of course, in the next one, we will be simming Season 4. So look forward to that. As always, if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next one. It took my guy forever to shoot that. Like, that was... Well, no, I went to, I curled the puck back, and my guy just took the laziest fucking wrister of all time, and that was apparently the best.
It hit my skate. Or leg. Leg.
Well, yeah, if only my guy had taken that wrist shot.